as you see, I have a very large stack of books in front of me. These are all books that I recommend if you're in a reading slump or trying to get out of it, or if you just want like a really fast-paced, get out of their book. So yeah, I have lots of different genres, lots of different authors. Some of these are really well known, some of them I kind of just found and they worked out. So let's get into it. Alright, so the first genre that we're going to go into is kind of like a romance, YA type thing. So the first book is The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. And usually when I am trying to get out of a reading slump, I try to read something that is not so much super light and easy rather than engaging. So some of these books are going to be really light, quick reads. Other ones are ones that I just really enjoyed and pulled me back into reading again. So Fault in Our Stars by John Green is the first one. And then next, we have It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. Colleen Hoover has mixed emotions with me. Are they all literary masterpieces? Absolutely not. Are some of them have good stories and just enjoyable to read? Yes. My favorite one is November Night, but any of them are really easy to read and kind of just quick. Next, we have 5 Feet Apart. If you've seen the movie, prepare yourself, the book is even sadder. I really enjoyed this one. It's about 2 teenagers who have CF and they find each other in a hospital and they have to stay 6 feet apart to not catch like each other's bacteria. 5 feet apart, they take that extra foot and you can figure out the rest once you read it. Next, we have Today, Tonight, and Tomorrow by Rachel Lynn Solomon. This is like a high school romance between 2 senior rivals vying for valedictorian, and they go on this big treasure hunt type thing, like scavenger hunt with their senior class, and everyone is going against each other, and they kind of end up teaming up and may or may not stay rivals. You have to read it and figure it out, but this is one of my favorite books. I read this literally in no time. Okay, now we are gonna get into some thrillers and mystery type thing. We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. Is it my favorite book? No. Is there a massive plot twist? Absolutely. This will have you speechless. My best friend sobbed at work when she was reading this. So basically it's about this big family who's really rich and goes on vacation to an island and all of the things that unfold. Lots of drama, lots of mystery. I recommend it. Okay, next we have Literally Anything by Natasha Preston. These are really, really fast reads. There's always a massive plot twist that you can never see coming. Kind of like a horror aspect, and one thing that I always love about her books is the mystery is always resolved, but it always leaves you asking questions, so it's like half closure. So this one, the fear is like a meme that goes around the school and everyone reposts it with their fear, and then people start dying with their fear, and then it's kind of like a whodunit. So I read this one in less than 24 hours. I think I read all these in less than 24 hours. The Island is about a bunch of influencers that go to a billionaire's island and then they all start dying, but it's just them on the island, so they have to figure out, whoa, is there someone new? Or is it one of us? Really, really interesting. That one had me up with a flashlight. The Lake is about these camp counselors that go to this lake, but some of them are returning, and then all these crazy things start happening that are kind of unexplainable, and then in the end you're kind of like, what the actual heck? And you just have to read it to find out. Next is One of Us is Lying by Karen and McManus. This one, it was good, not great, but also like a mystery to keep you going. It's about these high schoolers and they're all in detention, and then one of them dies. And throughout the book, you just find out more and more things about each of the characters that would give them a motive, but you don't find out until the end who the actual villain was. This one does have really good closure, and it's the first of a couple, but I only read the first one. Next, we have The Midnight Club by Christopher Pike. This one is about teenagers who are in hospice, and they congregate and tell each other horror stories. This one, I really enjoyed it. It's kind of bizarre. It's just one of those books where you're sitting there wondering how all of this is going to resolve, or kind of what the meaning of it is. And yeah, it's really good, really interesting, really fast, and really good for a reading slump. Next is the Good Girl's Guide to Murder trilogy. This is the second book, Good Girl, Bad Blood. All of them fantastic, but the first one especially is really good for getting out of a slump. One of my best friends is borrowing it. It's basically about a girl who solves this really infamous murder that happened in her own town, and all of the steps leading up to it, how she solved it, really in depth. It's an easy read, but like a really fast-paced read, and will keep you very entertained. Next, we have Win, Lose, Kill, Die by Cynthia Murphy. It's about these students who are at a boarding school, and there's a top girl and a top boy, and then they suddenly start dying, and you have to figure out if it's someone on the inside, someone on the outside, and how it's done, what the motive is. It's really thin. I think it's less than 250 pages, and it will leave your jaw on the floor. One of my favorite books is The Mary Shelley Club. I saw this and it looked interesting, and it is one of my all-time favorites. It's a little thick, almost 400, a little over 450 pages, but I read it in like 2 or 3 days while in school and working. So it is really, really fast. It's about these high schoolers who are in a club called the Mary Shelley Club, and it starts out them just watching horror movies together and hanging out with the love of horror. And then people start disappearing and dying, and they have to figure out, like, it's a secret club, so they have to figure out if it's someone within the club. People are asking questions from the outside, and really just a big mystery that I absolutely love. Okay, and then one genre that people never mention with reading slumps is fantasy, usually because it has a lot of world building and a lot of thought involved. But one trilogy that I really loved and that I would kind of recommend for getting out of a reading slump, especially if you love fantasy, is the Shadow and Bone trilogy by Leigh Bardugo. Rather simple world building. The characters are lovable and easy to follow. Lots of twists and turns. If you just want to read the first book, she wrote it specifically so that you could just read the first one, but I loved all three. And there are spin-off series. It's basically about this world where there's a divide of literal darkness with evil creatures within the darkness. And then it's about these people who fight against the darkness and have to get to the other side and kind of just like join both worlds. A lot more interesting than what I just explained it to me, but highly, highly recommend. And then a few more that I do not have a physical copy of are any books by Frida McFadden. If you've heard of her, you know she is one of the queens of mystery and thrillers. Two of my favorites are Never Lie and The Inmate. Never Lie is about this couple that comes in to buy a house that was previously owned by a psychiatrist, but she went missing several years ago, and it goes back and forth between the past and the present of what happened to her, how she went missing, and this couple is like stuck in the house overnight, and they also find lots of things. The Inmate is about a nurse practitioner, I believe, who goes to work inside a max security prison, and she finds one of her high school sweethearts after he was convicted of murdering a lot of people while they were together. And so yeah, it's kind of just like the story unfolding if he really did it, if she believes him, and what happens next. Another fantasy is The Shadows Between Us by Trisha Levenseller. It's a standalone that I read really fast, but it's basically following the point of view of this girl, and she goes into the court of this kingdom where the prince has shadow powers, kind of gives Zayden, but just their story together, if they're going to end up together, she's going to be the queen. She really is just there for the title, and he's very mysterious, so worth a read. And then last is A Thousand Boy Kisses by Tilly Holt. When I tell you tear-inducing, this will grab a hold onto you and not let go, and very sad. But it's basically just following this girl and boy after they meet when they were in, I think, 2nd grade up until adulthood. I'm not going to give any more because you really just need to experience it, but that is one where you will just get wrapped in and never want to leave. But yes, that is all I have for today. If you have any other recommendations, please, I love some good books to get me out of a reading slump. And don't forget to like and subscribe, comment, like I said, if you want to. And yes, until next time.